My name is Christopher Hayes, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can better manage your forest for an eastern box turtle. I will be giving you some background as well as some management techniques and silvicultural methods that you can use to manage your forest, your timber stand, your woodlands for an eastern box turtle. It's going to be an awesome time. It's going to be an adventure. Come close and let's go on this epic journey together. Just as farmers have a set of practices and guides used to get their crops from start to finish, we have silviculture techniques and forest management plans set in place to better manage for the eastern box turtle. Forest management practices change the vegetative structure and local environmental conditions which alter and change a species' use of an available habitat. That is why it is extremely important to manage under the right conditions for an eastern box turtle. They are a very vulnerable species, as in the past couple decades, their mortality numbers have drastically increased due to road-related mortality, habitat fragmentation, unauthorized collection of their animals, and mowing, burning, and urbanization. All of these things have isolated and limited their food, it has limited their water, and has limited their mating possibilities because they are such a small animal and they can't be seen in the readily available daylight. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the background of an eastern box turtle. They are small terrestrial reptiles. As you can see here, they have a half-domed shell with variable coloration. They have splotches of yellow on this turtle right here, but they can also be red, orange, and other dark colors. They have the ability to enclose all their limbs into their turtle, into the shell, and they have a hinge right here to completely protect them from all other predators. You can find eastern box turtles in all forested regions throughout the eastern United States, as well as parts of Mexico and the Yucatan Peninsula. They can live up to 40 to 60 years old, and they reach sexual maturity at age 10 to 13. They are able to have a few offspring per year, but one of the biggest problems with turtles is when they're a juvenile turtle, and it's when their shell, when they just became birthed and their shell is not yet hardened, that is when they are very vulnerable to other species and predators to kill them. Also, eastern box turtles are ectotherms. That means they are cold-blooded, so they rely on an external source for heat. They are very active during April to October, where they forage around for food and mate, and they hibernate during the winter when they burrow down underneath the soil to insulate them from the cold weather. Eastern box turtles are omnivores. They eat a variety of fungi, snails, worms, vegetation, and other insects. So here we find ourselves in one of the most prime examples of a habitat for an eastern box turtle. Eastern box turtles love bottomland hardwood sites. As you look out over the forest today, you will see different pines such as loblolly and slash, as well as deciduous trees, as well as mixed hickories, oak, and mixed pine stands. You will also find eastern box turtles in shrublands, in grasslands, in riparian zones, and in wetlands. If you look at the litter layer today, you'll see that it is pretty moist. This is what eastern box turtles love and think about most when searching for a desired home. They love most soil and a thick litter layer. This is about 1 inch to 2 inches thick deep, and it is only comprised of this because of the canopy closure. Like I already mentioned, 50% canopy closure, so that it lets light, but it also allows to have a very stable litter leaf layer on the ground. Also, eastern box turtles love a forest stand that has many fallen down trees and limbs which can provide cover. As for our little box turtle right here, for him to thrive, and he gets protection from these trees, and also provides more insulation for when he hibernates. You will not find eastern box turtles on ridges and embankments and on steep slopes, as they stay away from those because those are dangerous to them. Other silviculture techniques that we can use is that if we desperately need to get heavy machinery into our stand, then we can do it between May to September. As little disturbance that we can have, that we can prevent to the stand, is better for their environment. Also, if you have a stand or grassland nearby, please mow during the hottest part of the day, as the turtles would have migrated into other stands to seek cooler temperatures. We can also use a prescribed fire, but in very certain conditions. We can do patch fires like we've been talking about today, but we want to have a slow moving fire during the growing season. It needs to be creeping, and it needs to have a short flame, and also needs to be under the perfect weather conditions so that the turtles so that the fire does not spread too fast or advance too quickly up a slope, and it gives the turtles a chance to escape. Also, you can have your whole team of your prescribed fire team go out around the stand and search to see if there's any turtles in that area. If there are, then pick them up gently and remove them, and just put them outside of the patch that you are going. You can also use pesticides and herbicides in small dosage to remove the invasive and undesirable trees in your stand. I recommend you do this by a backpack, as it is more efficient and it has less disturbance on their habitat. So here we are again, and in one of the best prestige habitats of eastern box turtle. The bottomland hardwoods and the slope and the wet soil moisture. But unless we have the right canopy closure, then we will never have a habitat fit for an eastern box turtle. We already agreed that 50% of the canopy closure is our desired outcome goal. In order to do that, if you have a dense stand, an overstocked stand, or a very thin stand, we need to have patch group selection cuts so that it'll change the microenvironment for the light and for the temperature. By doing this, all the sun will be located in the patch, and so the light will increase the surface area, causing the eastern box turtles to come in and to heat up their bodies because they're through thermoregulation. By doing this, you can use a chainsaw or manually fell the tree. You do not want it to get any mechanized machines in there because they could run over and kill the turtles. But if you really need to do this, you can also do it during the winter months when the box turtles are hibernating and are the least active. It is very important in your stand to have patches of different types of light level intensities so that you can better manage them throughout a longer period of time if you have a bigger stand compared to having a couple acres. No matter what it is, to have these different groups of patches throughout your stand, turtles will be able to move in abundance and their populations will be able to grow. They'll be able to migrate from one patch to the other, and you can manage your forest as for revenue and income and for other different natural resources you want to manage for at the same time and when managing for an eastern box turtle. So, with all these silvicultural techniques and forest management plans that we have been learning today, there can be some unintended consequences, such as turtle mortality. This can be caused due to contractor unawareness, or just they were at the wrong time at the wrong place and we didn't seek the whole area first before we started. Also, populations can move out due to if there's too much disturbance on their habitat. Turtles will always seek the two main important factors, light and temperature. If they do not have those inside their stand, then they will most likely migrate into other stands or other forested areas where they can seek those optimal conditions. So in summary, eastern box turtles are one of the most amazing species to ever be on this planet. But their population and abundance is up to us on our end. We can do several things, such as leaving them in the forest floor where they belong when we're out walking, or remove them from a silviculture technique from going on into another contiguous forest stand. We can also want to limit as much disturbance to their habitat as possible, such as using manual hand tools or going in during the winter months when they're hibernating and they won't be disturbed at all. Thank you so much for listening to this video, and I hope you've learned a lot about how to manage a forest for an eastern box turtle. Me and Mr. Eastern Box Turtle are going to have a great day, and I'm going to release him right now back into where he belongs, into the wild.